Hey there guys, it's Metro, and today we're finally getting a look at the PvP island feature on the Battle for Azeroth Alpha. And this one is something that I've been waiting to test for a very long time. It was added in last night's build. Tried to get a video out last night on it, but couldn't seem to get anybody to queue against. So we're finally in today. And we are going to see a very different story than the last time you saw me do a video on the island expeditions. Now, before we even get into that, the main thing to keep in mind here is that I think this is bugged. I'm not actually sure what to say about this, but you'll see me realize something here pretty quickly. If I hover over the scaling thing, I am scaled to 120, but my gear is not changed. So that means that me and likely my compatriots are extremely weak compared to how it was when we did the mythic testing last week. And I have a feeling that this is not a very good representative of what things are going to be. As you see, I'm checking it there. So I'm pretty sure it was like 300 something. I can't even remember at this point, but it was basically Mythic 0 dungeon gear that we were scaled to, and everything felt really easy to kill and all this stuff. Now, when I'm completely under geared here, 263 item level, basically like almost 80 item level lower than I assume we're supposed to be when we do these at max level in PvP. Things are a little bit weird. Basically, what's happening here is, well, I assume also what's happening is the higher level players are just dominating the lower level players, because frankly my team is terrible. I don't know if it's the people on the team or it's them being low level or the classes or something. I don't know, but we get demolished, absolutely destroyed in this. I think we do kill a couple players on their team here and there, but for the most part we pretty much never... We don't win any of the 3v3 skirmishes. In fact, the one, it's going to be funny to watch. We like engage in a skirmish with these people, and both of my teammates just get killed in one hit. And I'm just chasing this druid around. And then that brings me to another problem with this. So I don't know how matchmaking is going to work. I don't know what the plans for this from Blizzard's end are. And I really did enjoy doing this. It was fun. And I got like really into it very quickly. But they have a tank and a healer. We don't have a healer, so it's like we have no hope of winning. Like I'm not sure how we're gonna win that. How can we possibly win without a healer when they have a healer? It just, in 3v3, it doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I'm not really sure about that, but I try my best to kill that healer. But of course, as a druid, I don't know. There's so many weird things that shock me in this game about PvP. I'm not really a PvP fan, but as you see there, that's the first point of interest I wanted to talk about there. These mechanics are doing a lot of damage, and that mob especially feels a bit ridiculous. Now, I know I'm really under geared and whatever is happening, but that mob is casting that ability so fast. I can't actually remember. You'll see it in the video. I can't see it clear enough, but that mob is casting that ability so fast that I can't move out of it. It's very difficult to move out of it. So I basically need to be at range to be able to even move out of that mechanic. Now, that seems different to me than the last time I did this, but who knows. Another thing here is, if you notice, the mob's health doesn't reset. Now, I think that's new, too. They also put in a fog of war, which you'll see if I open the map here. But look, I run out of that, and I still get hit by that, so I don't really know. Like I said, the gear, even if I got hit by that, if I was properly geared, it probably wouldn't even put a dent in my health. But, basically look at this as I'm a damage dealer right now. I think I'm sufficiently weakened to the point where I'm effectively a Death Knight DPS instead of a tank. And look at that. Even with Wraithwalk, can't avoid it. Very strange. I think that mechanic is happening too quick, but who knows? Maybe that's intentional. Anyway, yeah, so I feel very weak, and as a group, we are really struggling to kill any of these mobs. It's taking us a very long time to kill this stuff, let's put it that way. I mean, the guy's playing survival, which I don't know if that's any good on the alpha. Another guy's playing what looks to be marksman, which is cool, but yeah, I don't know. One way or the other, these are incredibly difficult. The PvE element of it is incredibly difficult, but I think, like I said, a vast majority of that is because of this weird kind of like it's not scaling us up. So I'm going to have to report that on the forums there. But anyway, the goal here is to get some of the PvP stuff interesting, like interesting interactions with PvP, and you are going to see a couple of them. Now, you're not going to see a ton of them, which is kind of strange. I don't actually know where they are. Like, I have to, I guess, learn about how this works, but, like, the people that we're supposed to be fighting are nowhere near us, and I can't see them. They don't appear on the map. They don't appear on the mini-map. At least when you were fighting the NPCs, there was, like, marks on the mini-map, but As you see, the mini-map has drastically changed. Now, I assume this is what it's supposed to look like the whole time, but it's basically just like blue markers that indicate like solid sources of Azerite. And I think this changes throughout the dungeon because there's a couple times when, I guess it could just be the fog of war revealing more, but I see like a big clump of them sometimes that I don't remember seeing early. But honestly, the idea here is really cool. And I'm going to tell you, I was really engaged by this very quickly. Like when I went in here, I didn't know what to expect. And, you know, the first 10 minutes or so, I'm like, whatever, just kill mobs and loot stuff. But then it started to get to the point where I was like, dude, where are the... Oh, they could be anywhere. You know what I mean? Where are the Alliance? It was like, I was like really on edge the whole time. And I just can't help but feel like this is what PvP should be like in this game. Everybody talks about, oh, World PvP and Classic was so good because it gave you that heightened sense of interest. You know, like you were constantly on edge worrying about people. And, you know, I quite agree with that. Like I think that's the best part about PvP in WoW is that it could happen anywhere. But when you enter into PvP in WoW, like that's a whole different deal, right? Like if I choose to join an arena or a battleground, well then the stakes have to be level, and they're not in WoW. And I think that's my biggest problem with World of Warcraft PvP. I just don't really enjoy it, frankly. But the main reason I don't enjoy it is because it always feels like the balance, like the ups and downs of classes in PvE are so much more exaggerated in PvP to the point that it's frustrating. Like, oh, my DK is slow in PvE, right? Like, this is a problem. Death Knights are slow. Well, guess what happens when I fight a Resto Druid in this arena, in this, whatever, you know, this island? It's like, yeah, okay. I can't get near him. I literally can't get near him. So what the hell am I supposed to do about that? That's really, feels like really exaggerated, really unfun, and that's something I definitely don't like about PvP. But in these, like this type of scenario, it's less important because it's more of like a kind of like a sandbox element, you know what I mean? Like we're not just trying to kill each other. There's other things that we could do to win. And it kind of reminds me of old AV. You know, speaking nostalgic, obviously, AV was one of my fondest memories. Like I remember when that came out. I was very young and I didn't know anything about PvP at the time, but I thought it was actually a PvE. Like I thought it was a zone because, you know, Alteric Mountains were in the game in Warcraft 3. So I thought it was actually a zone. By the way, these turtles are rapists, like unbelievable. That shell spin does a lot of damage. And yeah, even like I said, with the gear lowered, I guess, I don't know. That geyser, it's cool though. There's a lot of avoidable mechanics. But the problem is we're killing stuff so slow that they're happening so frequently, you just can't avoid them all. Like, you basically have to just kite the whole time. But anyway, the PvP, like I said, Alteric Valley, really my my one true love with PvP. I don't really like much in WoW PvP. Battlegrounds have always been relatively fun, but Alteric Valley was always my favorite. In fact, when I went back to my original account in Wrath, I actually leveled my Paladin from, I believe, 70 to 80 in Alteric Valley. But here we go. Here's the first PvP interaction we're going to have. And as you see, right out of the gate, oh, a lot of fun. Look at how far away that guy is now. So, no chance. I mean, our team, like I said, at this point, I didn't realize what was actually happening. I thought they were just wiping our team up. But yeah, basically our hunters, I don't know if they're just undergeared. I'm not really, like I said, it's difficult to figure out because we're not scaled. And that's obviously a bug. I mean, it might not be a bug, but people are doing this at like 110. So there's no reason that it shouldn't be scaled at this point. Like, unless you're making this so only 120s can queue, which not possible on the alpha. You can't get to 120. But unless you're making it that way, then there's no reason to not scale this. So obviously, I mean, I'm talking about here, it's clearly a bug. But that really ruins the idea here, unfortunately. But still, it's actually even more fun because it's like, you know, for my first experience, it's this like hyper dangerous situation. But frankly, they're probably just winning because they have a healer. Like I watch a couple times, I run into them while they're fighting mobs as well, and they're dying to mobs. So we must have killed somebody because I got honor kill achievement. But it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen very often. So here we go. It's 2v1. I don't know where their warrior's gone, but. That must be the warrior that died, yeah. So I'm going hard on this druid. I mean, I don't have everything up, but I'm doing a good amount of damage. Good amount of damage. Shadow locked. Oh, now he's a cat form. He's going to run. Oh, I'm going to put a slowdown. Oh, he runs the opposite way for some reason. And let's see. Does he die to this? No, he doesn't. He gets away. I grip everything together, hoping to kill people. And I do get the druid killed, yeah. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'm not catching this guy. Let's grip him on top of these shell spinning dudes, and both of us will die, and that'll be fine by me. That's what we do. We trade 1 for 1 there, unfortunately, but yeah, I don't know. Either way, the PvP interactions are really fun. This part is not fun here. Sitting here on this graveyard, I don't really know about that. I'm not a big fan about the 30-second res timer on an island like this, especially with so much travel. So maybe they could fix that, but let's see. There was a bunch of other stuff I wanted to talk about, but either way, I think this is the future for PvP, honestly. Like, I've been talking about this for a while, and I think, you know, Mythic Plus was the future for PvE. I really think that's demonstrably true at this point. PvE clearly has gone in a very fortuitous direction thanks to Mythic Plus, to the point of even esports level competition being fostered. And I think the next step for PvP is going to be this, because not only the reason Mythic Plus is so successful is because there's such a high skill ceiling, but a very, very, very low skill floor. Anybody can do Mythic Plus. It offers a lot of incentive and rewards, but if you're serious about it, there's insane things that you could pull off. Every single spec, every single class has usually multiple insane things that they could pull off. Like, the best players in the world will do them. The worst players in the world will not even know they exist. And I think that's really important for competitive content in 2018. And I think that was one of the biggest problems with raiding. There wasn't that opportunity for low skill players to still compete. You know, raiding takes a very long time. It takes multiple hours. Even to kill a single boss, it takes multiple hours. If it was like that in Mythic Plus, nobody would do them. If it took you 8 hours to even be able to complete a certain key, then it would be very less likely, you know, nobody would see the content. Nobody would try it. Less people would try it, right? And now that sounds stupid, right? It sounds really, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it sounds like it's counterproductive, but it isn't actually, because the more people, this is ridiculous, by the way. Some of the combinations of these mechanics are absolutely insane. And this is going to be really interesting, and I think this is different than when I tried it on Mythic, because I don't remember constantly getting stunned into mechanics that kill me. But anyway, like there, the guy's tendon rip, that's a slow, and then the other crocodile does a cleave. So it's like, I can't move out of this. And I'm here sitting here lamenting the fact that this is build 10 since I've been in, and Red Thirst still does not work. I don't know what that is, but anyway, I definitely feel like this is going to be a very, very high impact feature for PvP moving forward. And I'm hoping that people get on board with it, because I think it really has a lot to bring to the table. Like I said, you could really experience the game from a whole new perspective here. If you're really good at PvP, you could, I'd imagine, I don't know, I'm speaking very early on to this process, but I'd imagine that if you're really good at PvP, you could absolutely shut the other team down by yourself, because they're going to be sitting there doing stuff that you could disrupt them from doing. Meanwhile, the other two guys, we can just go do the PvE. The third guy is keeping them from doing it, keeping them from doing what they want to do, and that's that. Now here we go again. We got ganked. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They're completely shutting me down from doing this. I cannot fight those mobs and be attacked by this person. It's just not possible. The mobs do way too much damage. Anyway, and the fact that they have a healer is just kind of unfair. So yeah, that's the big difference for me. I don't really know how this is going to be balanced, but if they do put effort into making this competitive, making this a target for top level PvP and competitive PvP in general, even, you know, at mid level like Mythic Plus, then we're going to be in good shape. Now here we go. I see this druid, little druid here. He's at like a 10% health. He's going to get the hell out of here somehow. I still don't know how he did that, but we're going to slow him. We put a really big slowdown. He's going to go into cat form or something. Stun him, and we're going to get the kill because he runs into the mechanic. It's fun, right? I quite like it. I actually quite enjoy it. Now here I'm like, come on, come, you idiots. Like, come on. Don't run over there. They're running, chasing people that aren't going to be able to be killed. Just look at all this big, fat treasure. Oh, it's just, oh, it's like, oh my God. It's like owning a Krispy Kreme donut shop IRL. There's just stuff everywhere, you know what I mean? So we're just going to kill all these spiders. Now these mobs actually don't do as much damage as the other ones, which is kind of strange. But again, rooted, and then the big mob does a swipe. So one mob roots, big mob does a swipe. And this is frustrating because it's like, dude, I can't prevent this. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here other than just kite, basically. So I think, again, this is part of the gear problem. Like, it shouldn't be this dangerous. But, you know, this is kind of what I loved about scenarios. If you played the scenarios in MoP, really the whole thing there was that it was, like, supposed to be something that you could avoid a lot of the stuff in. And it doesn't, I don't know. I love that idea in, like, any game, like Dark Souls especially. If you guys know me, I love Dark Souls, because you can play that entire game without ever taking a single point in damage. People have done that, by the way. If you guys don't know much about Dark Souls, I would recommend looking into that. There's a really cool dude who, he does this very frequently. He beats the entire game without taking damage. And that is really cool. And it's not like really cheesy, you know? It's like actually skillful. Like, and this is what I want out of content in WoW. But that is not skillful. I can't do anything about that, you know? The rooting into a swipe, I don't know what to do there. So it immediately starts making me think about ways that I could survive it. For example, I could try to desync the casts. I could try to make it so the root happens immediately after the swipe. I could do that by either stunning it, interrupting it, dazing it, something like that. Would that work? I'm not sure. Maybe not. But that's something that immediately comes to mind. It's like, dude, how can I elevate my play to the point where I'm not getting farmed by these mobs? Obviously, if I had proper gear, it probably wouldn't matter at all as a bloody DK. But either way, I really do like these. It's really fun. It's really engaging, and it is scary when the other team comes at you like that. It's scary. So I'm saying here, all right, listen, if we have any chance of winning this at this point, we're going to have to go farm them. We're going to have to do what they have done to us a couple times now, and we have to gank them effectively. And now the fog of war has ended. It looks like I said, there's a lot of Azeroth on the map still. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but at some point it spawns like a whole new thing. And I have a feeling that whole new thing is meant to be like the swing. Like, it's like, okay, you're down by 1,000. Guess what? Wipe them here and then go loot all the stuff and you win, kind of thing, right? But it doesn't happen here, at least. Anyway, so here we go. We got 3 people attacking a really big mob. I'm going to grip that druid in. I don't know if that actually does damage. It looked like it did, but failed to grip anybody there other than the mob. I'm getting rooted. I'm chasing a guy around. Look at my hunter are getting destroyed. Absolutely getting destroyed, even though yeah, I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous. So I'm gonna use the new spell, by the way. We got a new spell. It used to be Thoughtseize. It looks the same as Thoughtseize, but it's not a Thoughtseize anymore. So as you see here, I'm just, you know, even with the gear problems, I'm still easily able to stay alive. Like, if all 3 of these people were just in melee range, I would probably be able to kill all 3 of them. But at this point, it's just too much running, man. This is the one thing that I really dislike about PvP. I bring this up all the time, and people always really get butthurt when I say it, but there's just way too much running in PvP. Like, avoiding the attacker is not something that I think is fun in this game. And he's not doing anything. He's just running away from me, so I can't attack him. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. This is so stupid. I don't really like this. And then people are like, well, what do you expect him to do? Just stand there and die? It's like, no, I expect there to be some kind of balanced playing field where the person can just not run away from me for the entire time like I'm fighting him. You know what I mean? Just, that doesn't work in any other game. Imagine in League of Legends if it was like me, you know, we were battling in the mid, and the other team just ran in a straight line away from us the whole time so they couldn't die. It's like there has to be something preventing that at some point. You can't just run infinitely in circles over and over again and outspeed the opponent and expect that to be balanced. So anyway, that's a gripe that I've always had with PvP, but still, it's still fun. I still enjoyed it, likely imbalanced at this point because of the problems. But look, I'm like, come on, what are you guys doing? They're just getting farmed, and I don't know why. But now, you know, now that we've finished it, I've come to realize that, yeah, that's a problem. The gearing situation there, probably low-level players, etc. So anyway, the fire world or whatever is opened up. I don't actually know how this works, but this is how it worked in normal and everything like that. So I'm like, whatever. We're just gonna have to try to kill some mobs here. But again, we get these really dastardly combinations. One of them, actually, yeah, disorients and then get hit by the meteor. It's like, well, then disoriented again. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do about that? I can't do that. You know what I mean? It's not possible. So, I don't know. I guess you just need people to heal you or to stun. But I'm sitting here, like, contemplating the gear, and I'm thinking, well, I guess this is just broken. Because I assume, you know, we're testing it. The PvE elements of it are meant to be on the mythic level, and the PvP is just on top of that, right? Like, I assume what we're doing here is a mythic dungeon with other players in it. I have to make that assumption. I think it's a fair assumption. So these mobs are meant to be tested at 3 something. I don't remember now, but Yeah, they're absolutely demolishing me. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I can't even fight them. I'm not really sure how we would do this. But at the same time, I actually kind of like this. Well, actually, I don't know. It seems cool. I think it would get pretty boring fast. Like, look at that guy just charges in and just gets one shot. I mean, he literally doesn't even do damage. So that's obviously not good. But what is cool is that the mobs out in the world are actually dangerous. Now, I think there's going to be an inherent danger anyway when you're fighting, like when you have the potential of being fought by other human beings. So I don't think you need to make these mobs overly difficult. But, like, this is ridiculous. This is just absurd. I should not be losing to 2 mobs like this over and over again. But regardless, it's still actually quite cool, quite an interesting idea to think that the world is dangerous, and now it's even more dangerous because of NPC or players, you know, not NPCs even. And I really, you know, I think that's a lot of the reason why people loved Classic, like the PvP stuff in Classic, because if you look at any other system in the game, it's objectively worse, right? Like, there's no rating, proper competitive elements, terrible balance, almost no rewards. Certainly the rewards that are there are imbalanced. And there's no PvP specific stuff like comes in later expansions, you know? So it's like, why does anybody enjoy PvP in Classic? And I think most people who do it, they actually do it because it has this feel to it. It's like, there's multiple ways to succeed in PvP in this version and that version. But more so, it's like the world attributes to the danger, right? So it's like in Arena, you're just fighting another player, and if you kill that player or they kill you, that's all that decides the factor. There's no, you know, no damage that you could be taking from the arena, to my knowledge. Maybe there is, but I'm pretty sure that 99% of arena matches are not dealt the death blow by a mob. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I quite like it. I quite like it. It's turning me into somebody who's interested in PvP. And I would like to see a competitive, like a competitive PvPer, and I now know one. So I'm gonna reach out to him and see what's up. That's Dilly. What's up, man? If you're watching this, yeah. So I'm gonna see what he has to say on this. Hopefully he's tested this too, and I'd love to hear your guys' feedback too. If you guys are also serious into PvP, especially if you've played PvP for a long time, like. You know, if you played PvP since the old days, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how these compare to maybe like early Battlegrounds, or, you know, do you prefer this to Arena? Like, if this was made to be a serious competitive pathway in World of Warcraft, do you think it would equate to that type of content? Like, it would work. It would work in maybe a tournament setting, in a ladder setting. You know, something that keeps people engaged, keeps people progressing, keeps people interested for a long period of time. As you see there, that hunter on their team actually just got farmed by those mobs too. So it's like, it's not just me. So I see that portal. I'm going to go in there. I'm taking damage from this like fire on the ground. Way too much damage. Obviously, I'm getting destroyed. I must die standing in that fire. It's a bit ridiculous. And now I'm in here. Let's see. They've killed this the boss mob or whatever. So they must still be in here, surely. That's probably why the hunter... Well, actually, now that I think about it, maybe the hunter was coming out of the portal and he died. But anyway, surely they're in here. Let's see where we could find these guys. They got to be in here. So, yeah. Anyway, obviously in a very poor state in terms of balance, but I actually quite like it. I'm really excited to see the future of it. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Hope to hear your thoughts down below. And thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next one.